Welcome to the Living Legacy Podcast, where we feature wealth experts, investors, and entrepreneurs as they share their inspiring journey to living their best life. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hey, Brian Fouts here, host of the Living Legacy Podcast, where I feature top leaders across many industries. Now, this episode is brought to you by the Living Legacy Association. Now, at Living Legacy, our mission is to empower clients with the knowledge, the strategies to achieve financial prosperity in their lives. Now, whether you're looking to save as much as you can on taxes, protect your current assets, or identify investment and investing opportunities, we help people from all walks of life, from surgeons to doctors, dentists, entrepreneurs, teachers, and police officers. To learn more about what we do and how we can help you, please go to our website at livinglegacyassociation.com. Now, today I have Chad Franzen here from Rise 25, who has done thousands upon thousands of interviews with successful entrepreneurs, investors, business owners, CEOs. And today we have flipped the script and he'll be interviewing me. So Chad, welcome.
Hey, thank you so much, Brian. It's great to be here. Today I want to focus on how people can transition to a wealth-focused life instead of just working. I'm sure most people just kind of depend on their salary, and that kind of dictates their lifestyle. Why don't we start by talking about sources of income and how are people kind of misguided if they realize that, or if they think that their salary is their only source of their income?
Yeah, so Chad, so when I got my start in life, I was programmed just like lots of other people to get good grades, or at least try, and go to school, get a degree, go get a job, save into your 401k, and work for retirement. Okay, that was really my programming, and eventually it didn't work for me. But that's what a lot of people are doing out there. They're trading that time for money. You have a job, you have a salary, you have an hourly wage, whatever it is. We're doing that. And fast forward, when I started to become an entrepreneur, I had a lot of life lessons that I had to experience that really changed my perspective. And one of them is time, because time is the most valuable asset, in my opinion, that we have, because it's limited. We're all limited, right? Our life is limited in time. And so that is our most valuable asset. Yet here's the thing. We give it away so freely. We give it away to social media, TV, to the cell phones and smartphones, scrolling, watching videos, and we give it away to our employers or other people. And guess what they're doing? They understand the value of time. So what are they doing? They're buying your time, and they're making money off of your time. So once I started to understand that, it really kind of it really made me want to change, because I realized that, oh my gosh, because I was in construction for many years. That was my career. And yeah, I got paid a nice salary. But then I started to think about this. I'm like, well, wait a second. Why are they paying me such a nice salary? Well, because they're making 3 times that salary in profits off of me. Which is nothing wrong with that, by the way. There's nothing wrong with that. But once I started to think about that, and I said, what do I actually want to have in my own life, which ended up being freedom. I wanted to be free. I realized it came back to that one thing: time, my time. And I realized at that point in time that, just like a lot of people are in the world, they're not in control of their time. They're giving it away to somebody else. And we're locked into that thing. And so that really made me want to change that. And it came down to understanding sources of income. That was a big epiphany I had. Now, there's 3 sources that you can really talk about, and you can go look this up anywhere. They talk about these things, but it's active income is the first one. Active income is trading time for money. And if you stop doing that, what happens? No more income, right? So guess what? You have to keep trading more and more time. And a lot of people focus 99% of their working life on that source of income, active income, because that is what we are taught to do. We are programmed that. Our educational system, by the way, which was born out of the Industrial Revolution, was made to create employees for the factories. And we still have that same old broken programming being taught to all of the kids at school. And to me, it's sad. It's really sad that is happening. And so I had that same programming though, and I had to change it. And what I started to realize is that hey, I want to make more money. So what do? I trade more time, which I don't have very much. Or I say, okay, maybe I'll ask for a raise. Okay, I'd make 5% more, 10% more, but I never had freedom. And so once I got into this and understood the other sources of income, it really opened my eyes to how successful entrepreneurs, investors, business owners, wealthy people live life differently. And so the second source of income is what they call portfolio income. And everybody has a different, view of this, but portfolio is where you're buying assets like stocks that hopefully go up in value. And then this is how most people do it, is then eventually later on in life, you're going to stop with the active income, meaning it goes away because you retire. And then you rely upon your portfolio to provide you with the income. But here's the crazy thing. How do you get income out of your portfolio? You have to sell the asset. So a portfolio essentially is really your time that you have taken in the form of money and set it aside for the future. It's just time. It's weird to think about this, but this is my time that I'm now selling or getting to create that income. But the thing that's very scary for a lot of people is that once they start selling their assets in their portfolio, meaning stocks, the portfolio shrinks. And that's time, by the way, shrinking. It's time when you think of it this way. And this, by the way, was the thing that really changed it for me when I started thinking about the money in my portfolio as time. And it was shrinking. I'm not creating more time in my life. I'm actually losing time. Oh my gosh, this is really weird. And then that's why we see a lot of people that have to go back to work, have to go, work at, Home Depot or something to create that income because they're watching their portfolio shrink and shrink and shrink, and they're still alive. And if you want to get really morbid, what's happening here? It's a race to see if your money runs out first or your life runs out. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that concept. I didn't like living that path. And I made a big commitment to change. And that's how I got into entrepreneurship. And that's part of the reason why. And then once I started learning and seeing what other people were doing, I got excited because now I saw this, okay, passive income, passive cash flow, and I really don't like the term passive because you have to work for that money. But once I saw that what they were doing, I said, I want to do the same thing. And so what I did, Chad, is what I started to understood is I don't want to trade my time for $50 or $30. I want to use my time to create something of value that makes my time worth so much more that I never have to worry about trading time for money for an employer again. And so one of the first examples of this I did was, all right, so I got into real estate. And by the way, real estate is a great example of this. And there was this project that I got, this house I got, and I got it through owner financing. So I had no money in the deal, but I got control of the asset. So control, remember I talked about control, big thing right there. When you have control of time and control of assets, you control your life. And I spent about 15 hours on this project, but I made no money. And it was a battle for me in my own internal mindset to understand that, yes, I'm trading time, but not for money. I'm trading the time for an asset. And so fast forward a couple of weeks later, that home made me $4,000 in one day when I resold it on a note. And then it made me, I think, about $300 a month for 2 years. I didn't do anything else in that home. I never saw it again, never talked to the person that bought it, never went to it, nothing for 2 years. And then they sold it again, and I made another $8,000. But I put no more time into it. 15 hours, and I made like $15,000 or $12,000, whatever it was, on this one project. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. And so then I started looking at how do I create more engines, more of these cash flow engines with my time. All of a sudden, fast forward, I'm getting cash flow coming in from multiple streams of revenue, which, by the way, is one of the key things to living a wealthy life is multiple streams of income or revenue. Yet, if I stopped, the income still came in. It still came in. I was like, this is truly the wealthy life that I want to have because, yes, the money is part of it, but I had freedom. I have time all of a sudden. I controlled my time. And once I saw this and once I experienced it and got a taste of it, it completely changed my mindset. Took some time, of course, to do that. But now when I look at things, I look at it from a completely different lens or experience. And it's fun when I go back and talk to people of my old life sometimes that aren't in that space, still trading time for money. The conversations are so different now because I'm coming at it from a different perspective and I understand their programming, but I've changed mine. And so very powerful when you start to learn these kinds of things.
Would you say real estate is the best way to do that?
That or entrepreneurship. And when I say entrepreneurship, I mean typically your own business. So yes, real estate is awesome because it's something you can do on the side and you can create multiple streams of revenue through real estate in different ways. So it's very versatile. So I've done, as an example in real estate, fix and flips. So I like those when I was doing them, but I put in time into those things and I would get paid at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
But what I realized with that one, with fix and flips especially, is that I'm paid last usually. So before I got paid, whoever sold the home got paid, the real estate agent may have got paid, the lender got paid, the contractor, all these people, the county got paid, everybody got paid first, then I got the leftovers. And I said, well, that's okay. It's okay. It builds, cash, but I like creating cash flow. So when I look at real estate, cash flow to me is where it's at because you're creating these things that are going to cash flow no matter what you're doing. With the fix and flips, I had to continually spend time doing it. And if I stopped, the income stopped. So part of it is making your time worth more, but at the same time, it was, how do I get paid for life? Is a question I started asking. And in fact, my brother Jake is the one that first asked me that. It's like, let's ask ourselves, how do we get paid for life? Not just once. So think about when you go and trade your time for money, when you buy and sell a house, buy and sell a car, you're getting paid once. So I started thinking about, how do I get paid for life or continuously? And so I started looking at things like lease options, rental properties, turnkey options, owner financing. And those are the ones I like the most because I can put in the work up front and then I would get paid into perpetuity. And in fact, here last summer, I had a home that I'd had for 5 years. It's 5 years. It was a 1-bedroom home. I acquired it years ago, got paid $8,000 when I acquired it, made a couple $100 every month for 5 years. And then the guy sold it, the person who owned it, sold it again, and I got cashed out and I made $11,000 on that home. But I had done the work to make that $11,000 5 years ago. I got cash flow into it. I got money up front and money in the back end. I mean, I made my money 3 times on that one thing. And I spent, I think on that deal, about 7 hours total on that property.
Would you say it is difficult to go from trading mind for money? I'm sorry, trading time for money in your mind, or once you realize that you can make money in other ways, it's pretty easy.
It depends on the individual, and really, where I struggled or I had some challenges was in my own internal mindset. Because this is kind of funny, when I left my job, my career in construction, and became an entrepreneur, I had some money set aside to do this and get into real estate. I started paying myself a salary. I kid you not. Mm-hmm. I went from a job and I built myself another freaking job and paid myself. I was like, and fast forward 6 months after that, I sat back and looked at it and said, why am I doing this? Why am I paying myself? I just made $60,000 on one project and I'm paying myself $5,000 a month. Why am I doing this? And there was a reason was because of my mindset around money and trading time for money. And so I was comfortable. And by the way, this is what I call your wealth thermostat. And so we all have an internal wealth thermostat. Think of a lottery winner that wins millions of dollars and yet they're bankrupt 3 to 5 years later because they were out of their comfort zone. They could not handle that kind of wealth of that change. The same as a person who's making $100,000 salary and working their ass off. If you pay them $500,000, they'll not be, typically, the studies have shown, not as productive because all of a sudden they have more money that they're not used to. It changes their life, typically not for the better. And so I had to understand my own internal mindset and programming. And what it ended up being was I said, you're not going to get paid on a regular basis. You might have a month you don't get paid. This month you might get paid $100,000. And so I had to become okay with that. I had to understand that. And that had to be my normal. I had to be excited about making $100,000 or making zero because I knew I was building something different. And that was really the transition I had to make. So if you're in that mindset of trading time for money, start thinking differently about it. Start asking different questions. How do I get paid for life? How do I make sure that when I do this, I'm going to get paid, for months on end or weeks or whatever it is? You've got to start changing the way you think about things, the words that you're using. And our thoughts are extremely powerful. The words that we speak, extremely powerful. And so I'm very conscious of what I say and what I think, because I know that it impacts my mindset and my programming around my ability to create action and results. So I'm very careful about what I say. You'll never hear me say, money is the root of all evil. Well, one, that's not true. That's not my experience. I've just heard people say that. And if somebody comes to me and says that to me, I immediately am like, nope, not going to listen. Nope. I won't even argue with them because it's not worth it. But I understand that I don't believe that, and therefore I will not accept that or allow it to impact me or influence me. And so that's really how I had to transition away from it. But it was a challenge, Chad, when I first started doing it, to be honest, because I kept going back to that other mindset. Oh, trade time for money. Like I started thinking about, I've got to go on vacation this summer. This is when I was an entrepreneur at the very beginning. And guess what I was doing? I was working my ass off before the vacation so that I would not work when I'm on vacation. Today, I travel for about 2 to 3 months out of the year. I never go on vacation. I'm just living my best life. I'm doing the things that I want to do. I'm working when I'm doing those things. I'm running my businesses. I'm having fun. I'm doing podcasts while traveling on the road. I'm having fun because I have freedom. And I don't think about trading time for money anymore. I don't think about, I'm going to stop working and go on vacation, then come back to work. Like, no, I'm living a wealthy life. I want to do these things. I don't want to stop. And that is, by the way, Chad, that is one of the biggest things that changed in my life when I was trading time for money versus today. I don't want to stop doing what I'm doing. So many people I know want to stop their job and go do something different. Like me, I love what I do. Like that to me was one of the biggest things that changed my life and allowed me to have that wealthy life, was really understanding the value of me, the value of my time, and then getting myself in control of that.
Okay. Hey, that is awesome. Great stuff there. Great information, great insight, and definitely something for everybody to think about. Thanks so much, Brian. We'll look forward to future episodes.
All right. Thanks, Chad.
So long, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Living Legacy Podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.